Oh, yeah. That cracker, that beer sounds so good. Welcome back to another episode of Weekend's Last Beer, Season 1, Episode 3. We got a lot lined up today. We're going to hit on RBC Canadian reactions today. We're going to hit on me and Dylan's golf game today, talk about top 5 golfers of all time, talk about Frank's first Father's Day next weekend, and then we're going to close it out with the U.S. Open preview. How you guys doing today?
Good. I'm like hungover. I'm exhausted. I was all the way up in Johnstown. Golf for my buddy's brother's memorial for a golf outing. Played really well. Saw a lot of friends that I haven't seen probably in like a year or two. Some of my friends were all the way from Austin that flew in. And then we played only like a 9-hole course, but then we played 18. We just kept driving past everybody and just played another 9. It was pretty funny. We are just like ignoring everybody and just kept playing. Yeah, we were drinking until like 12 o'clock at night, and we were at the course at like 10 a.m. It was all you could drink basically. So we did some damage that day. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have a weekend's last beer today, boys.
Okay, that's totally fine. That sounds like one hell of a weekend, but I'm glad you enjoyed it with your boys and you played very well. Dylan, how
I
you doing?
played like shit, but other than that,
Dylan, how you doing?
Hanging in there. I've been recollecting for the last couple hours on how shit I am at golf. The driver, I think I know what the driver needs, but it's like my first time out with this new driver, and we'll see. We got some range.
Which one did he get, Dill?
I got the QI10.
I love that driver. That's a good driver. I think it's better than the QI35. Tell you the truth.
I'd have to agree. It's my first time with the come on, man, carbon face, so we're liking it, but I like how it feels. But I need to learn how to hit it.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes you feel like you're the club, like with definitely TaylorMade clubs. I feel like when you're looking down on the face, it looks like it's like tilted like more left than it is actually. And then your brain like makes it have to like straighten it out.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay. And then you hit it and you're going like far right with it. So when I had TaylorMade driver, I was like, okay, I'm aiming like hard left side, like the left bunker at the end of that. And then like it would hit it perfectly straight down the fairway. So it was just so wonky playing with that club. I just never liked them. I was always a Callaway guy. But the QI10 I played with a couple times with my friend, and I fell in love with that club too. So I think it's all about the face and how it looks on the top.
It feels nice. What I'm going to do is I'm going to honestly go to the range and just get like a large bucket. And I'm just going to dedicate the whole thing to driver. I'm going to bring my club wrench, and I'm just going to fuck around with the settings a little bit and kind of go from there, see if I can move it around a little bit, change around with the loft and the angle, and go from there, because I want to get it to actually fit my swing. Because obviously, there's the way to swing a club, and then there's the way people swing their actual clubs. There's no like right way to do it. I mean, you look at Bubba Watson and like Matt Wolf and them, and you're like, all right, how does that work? But everyone has their own swing, and you're going to make it work. That's what I was telling Jack today. I'm like, my swing may be ugly, but I got down to like a 6 handicap, so obviously it's working in some aspect.
I just feel like sometimes with just like driver, like this weekend I couldn't hit a driver. It could have been this, 3 transfusions and like multiple beers I had beforehand. But then I sort of like sobered up by like the end of the back 9. So I was like still hitting it bad. And I was just like, okay, this day is a wash. And I'm like sort of panicking right now because I was like, I'm going on a golf trip in like a month. Actually, Chris was there. It's his bachelor party. And I'm playing at one of like my big bucket list courses. And I'm like, if I play like shit on that course, I'm going to be like so upset with myself. But at the same time, it's one of the hardest courses I think it's the top 20 hardest course in America. So if I break like 95, I'm happy. But still, I think I'm not going to even break that. I don't even think I'm going to break that there. So I got to sort of put that in my mind too.
Yeah, Dylan and I, we played at, I think it was top 5 courses in Maryland today. We played at Bully Rock. And that course was beautiful. They have the Big Ten championship for college golf there.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's in Havana Grace, and it's one of I think, the nicest courses I've ever played at.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, no, it was super nice. We got to go, Frank. We got to go out there with you because me and Dylan talked about it. We're like, we need Frank out here. We got to go back out. It's a very well laid out course, and they had the starter at the first tee. Obviously, most courses do, and it was just super nerve wracking because me and Dylan were up to drive, and I mean, I had a good drive. Dylan had a kind of shitty drive. But
it was shitty.
Yeah, it was. But the thing is, we were thinking about it, it's like, how do these professional golfers, how do they play in front of thousands of people on the course and like hit 300 yards? So, Dylan, what are your takeaways of this course? And then, Frank, we will tell you some funny things that happened that we wish we were there for.
Honestly, I mean, anytime you play like a Pete Dye or a Donald Ross course, you know you're in for some, you know.
Good old Vance, Dylan's brother.
You know you're in for some fun because they just love to torture the average golfer. But their courses are beautiful. I really liked it. It reminded me of kind of like an Oakmont style with the way the rough was. I mean, I was going back. We're sitting there in the rough, and I'm putting my foot down. I'm like, dude, this has to be 3 or 4 inches. Like, I'm just sitting there, like, measuring it against my shoe, and I'm like, yeah, this needs to be like 3 or 4 inches. Like, it was the roughest rough.
That's what your wife says every night. Sorry, I had to say it.
Oh, that's crazy.
Go ahead, Dylan. Keep on talking.
Sorry.
No, but I mean, it was a nice course. The greens rolled true. If it didn't rain, it would have been a lot better. But we still had, you know, the shots that always bring us back. I mean, Jack nailed a 45-footer, so that was nice.
Yeah, dude. Let's talk about that. No, on the 9th hole, it had just started raining. It was coming down pretty hard, and my drive was in the fairway, probably like 200 out. I took a 5-iron, was a little short of, like, I was on the green, but I was not too far on the green. And I decided to take a putt, and dude, I drilled the 45-foot putt for birdie.
That's nice.
It was the most incredible moment of my life. Not gonna lie. So shout out to Bully Rock for that.
Yeah, that was my favorite hole, I think, because that's the one where I absolutely killed that drive. I think it was like a 386-yard hole.
Yeah.
I think I had like a 104 shot in, and it was across that pond, and I just freaking hit that nice little baby fade right over the center of it, and it just fell right there in the fairway, and then just put a 54 to like 6 feet. I was like, yeah, this is gonna turn my day around.
You know, it was a great course. So, Frank, the funny story I want to tell you about is we're in the middle of the round. I think we're on hole 12 because hole 13 was the one that had the ravine on the right. We're on hole 13. It's a short par 4. I hit my driver pretty good, and then I put it on like the hill that's by the sand trap by the green for my second shot. And I was walking down the hill to get to my ball, and I didn't know they had like wood planks in the side of the hill. So I walked down the hill, not noticing they were there, right? I slipped, and my leg literally buckled, went ankle back, and dude, I'm in so much pain. The rest of the day, like I still, you know, muscled through it, but my drives weren't the same because I couldn't. That was my right foot. That's my front foot. So where I get all the power from, it was it was not fun. Dylan was like going his ball, and he's like, Jack, where are you? Because he saw me fall down, and you know it was horrible.
How much? All right. Did you guys really like the shot? I mean, did you guys like the course so much that you guys went to the pro shop after?
Oh yeah, of course. Come on, Frank.
You have to do that.
Yeah.
If you like the course, you have to buy at least something from the course.
You got the hat there. I got a nice Nike Blade shirt from there. It said Bully Rock on the sleeve. Really nice
Sick
really nice.
of the Maryland crab on it and everything.
Yeah,
It was cool, Frank.
Like any course you go to, I mean, I even told my wife, like, when I go to the Pete Dye course at the French Licks, she's like, "Oh, how much is it?" I was like, "Oh, well, for a round, I think it's like $5.45." But then I was like, "That's not going to be the pricey part." And my wife just turns to me, she goes, "Oh, Jesus Christ, the pro shop." I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna that pro shop." Like, you have to. Yeah, like I feel like every guy's like, if you go to like Pinehurst or somewhere like top of the line, you have to pay it. And I think even those courses know like people are going to buy a ridiculous amount of stuff here, like no matter what.
Oh, we were talking about that today. We're like, dude, like when we finally make our trip to Pinehurst or one of these other great courses, we're gonna drop like $400 or $500 in this pro shop. It's gonna be
easy. I mean, like sometimes they're like quarter zips are like $200 just by itself. And you're going to be buying a little bit more than that. I'm going to probably buy 2 hats, 3 hats, and then, something like that around there. Because when I went to the LPGA US Open, that was in Lancaster, dude, I dropped, I think, like $750.
Damn.
Yeah.
It was bad.
No,
I bought things for my wife, too. So I bought her a nice skirt, a nice quarter zip, a nice golf shirt, and a hat. And then I bought myself a quarter zip and 2 button-down shirt, 2 golf shirts, and that was $750 right there.
Good God! Yeah. No, it was cool because, like we said, that's where they play the championship round for college golf.
Women's Big Ten championship.
Yeah, and it was cool because you were driving up to the course and you could see all of the Big Ten colleges and their flags. And then each as you got to the parking lot, they had little like parking spots for those colleges. So it was really cool. They were telling us that about a couple years ago, the course record, I think for women or just in general, is 64. And one girl from Vanderbilt or Purdue, I forget what school it was. She
was Minnesota.
Minnesota, yeah. She tied the course record at 64. Now she's on tour. I forget her name, but they had the LPGA US Open there a couple years ago as well. Like I think it was like 10, 15 years ago. But yeah, dude, I'm telling you, for a course like that, you're thinking the round's going to be $200 a pop, right, per person. We only paid. I mean, it was a decent price for that nice course. It was like $120 a round.
Yeah,
not bad at all.
It was like
that's amazing. Like, I mean, we do some public courses around here that is not at that level. That if they have a U.S. Open there for any professional or like a championship, that's insanity. I did drive past Cobbs Creek actually today just to take a look at it because me and my wife had to go to a 1-year-old birthday right after I got back from Johnstown. That was fun. But then I was like, oh, I'm driving past Cobbs Creek just to look at it because Tiger Woods put over $100 million into that. I don't know if you aren't from Philadelphia, Cobbs Creek is just a historical golf course that is, really just enriched in history, and it went really downhill since, like, I would say the early 90s. They really didn't take as much care of it as they should, and they were ready about to close it down. And Tiger Woods jumped in and was like, no, this is part of history. You need to keep this. And they're putting over, like, I think $150 million altogether into it. And this course is going to be crazy good. And they're already talking about putting a PGA, tournament there. And it's just like really exciting for Philly because we don't have, we have so many private clubs that could have PGA, but public courses wise, it's like, I do have a couple like hard public courses, but not like, oh my God, this is beautiful, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is like a pristine course that could have an open or something like that there. Mm-hmm. I think that's what we're missing. Do you guys agree?
I do agree.
You're good. Yeah, I agree. I think that'd be fun to see, go there, see if we can see a tournament there, being played there. Yeah. But moving on, tournament just ended today. It was the RBC Canadian Open reactions to that. So I didn't get to watch it really at all.
Weird. It was a pillow fight at the end.
Really?
Yeah.
I knew we went to play the playoff round.
Dude,
I think it was like what?
I would like if you go to playoffs, dude. I want these guys dropping down. I mean, it's so easy for someone like on the couch saying, "Hey, I want these guys dropping dimes in the playoffs," but like we got so lucky with the Masters. Like, I mean, with the playoffs, I mean, it was only a one whole playoff, but we saw Rory at his best, and I mean, I think it was Rose, right? Rose.
Yeah.
Rose dropping a dime beforehand, and then you're like, oh my God, no. And Rory's up, and then he drops within Rose's shot, and you're like, oh, these guys are both on. I want those guys to be just so on point and on target and just really showing off their skills. I felt like they were just like chunking shots left and right. I feel like they were just tired at the end, man. And it was just like, try. But I did like, what's his face, doing the driver off the deck to get there. And everybody was cheering for him to do the driver off the deck. And it almost went in the water. I mean, it was like literally 2 feet away from the water and it just stopped. And I was like, oh my God, that could have been a catastrophe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Am I the only one that felt that way?
Honestly, man, I tried to get on and watch it. I just by the time we got back home from the course, because it was probably about like an hour back home for me just because of traffic on 95, surprise. So I tried to get on the last couple playoff holes. I remember calling my family, and like I said, big golf family. So they were like, oh, we're watching the playoff holes, so I'm trying to get Golf Channel on to watch it. And at that point, all I hear in the background is, oh, the one guy from New Zealand just won it. And I'm like, ah, shit, well, I'm not even turning it on because it's over.
Yeah. I think the biggest story was Rory for the whole tournament. I mean, quadruple bogeyed, and then I just felt like he was just sort of out of it. And then even the announcer said something that was very odd to me, and I sort of understand it in a way as a competitor. Like, you win the Grand Slam, and now he's like, oh, I got it. I'm done. And now he just doesn't – he said, he's like, I lost that competitive edge, and I'm trying to get it back, and I'm trying to figure it out. And that's got to be tough because – hey, you got the Grand Slam. Like, that's awesome. You're probably one of the greatest golfers in the world. Like, you know, like you're going to be in the Hall of Fame. You're going to be one of the best there is. And I want to know how he's going to get that competitive edge back. Like I know you probably already talked to Tiger about it. Like, where do I get this competitive? Where do I, how do I get that back? And I think it's going to take time for him to get back and get a good mojo going. I just was a little fearful when the announcer said that. I would rather have had. I'm shocked even an announcer said that out loud. That was the creepy thing. Like, I'm like, whoa, if he knows this, like, what is everybody else saying around, like, the PGA and all the pros and stuff? So that kind of creeped me out a little bit. What do you guys think?
Yeah, no, I think, and then I'll give it to you, Dylan. I think Rory, this could be his slump. And he needs to figure it out because, I mean, I would say, I know Dylan's not a big fan of Rory, but he's one of the best golfers within the last 15 years. I know he's fell short on a few tournaments. It took him 14, 15 years to get to the Grand Slam. But he needs to refocus because he is a good golfer. He just isn't playing like it. And I think maybe him taking, a leave from the Memorial Championship or Open last week may have affected it because I feel like if you're on a hot streak like he was, and then you like skip out on a bunch of tournaments, that mojo you have is gone. And I think that is true for pretty much any amateur golfer like us. Like if we play around, if me and Dylan played golf today, right? And then we didn't play until, August, right? We would be struggling. Whereas that's the same kind of concept as being in the PGA Tour. When you take breaks, I know you kind of need to rest your body, but I feel like your mojo, that kind of dog mentality goes away and you just shoot yourself in the foot.
Yeah, I mean, like Jack said, I am not the biggest fan of Rory. I actually dislike Rory. I won't deny he is a great golfer, But there's just a lot of things that rub me the wrong way about Rory. Like recently, how do you not call Jack and tell him you're not playing this tournament? I mean, that guy is emotional. I'm not saying that in a bad way, but Jack is an emotional guy. And it's like, how do you not tell Jack, like, hey, give him a call and just be like, listen, I have things going on. I need to take a rest. I'm sorry. I would love to play, but it's just not feasible for me this year. How do you just radio silence the man? Like, come on. Like, and you see him, over the years, he's rubbed me the wrong way. I actually used to be a huge fan of Rory until it just like, all this, different things came out about like just his personality and things like that, where I was just like, yeah, it kind of turned me off as a fan. But it's just like, I understand the competitive nature thing to a point, but it's like, that's kind of what separates the great golfers from the all-time greats. I mean, like, I don't think I've ever heard Tiger Woods' competitive nature being gone. That man has won how many tournaments? He just wants to keep winning. Kobe Bryant, I mean, he's not obviously a golfer, but it's like you never heard him say, oh, I won 3 finals now. My competitive nature's gone. Like, no, like as a competitor, you're always going to be a competitor. So what now has changed where now you're not a competitor?
My thing is, like, what rubbed me really the wrong way is I think golf is getting bigger, and I don't think it's just solely because the PGA and LIV and LPGA. I think YouTube golf really grew golf really well, and he always goes like cheap shots the YouTube golfer world. Now, like, I understand, like, hey, there's and we're part of that world in a way too. I mean, there's no lying about that, and it's coming sort of after us in a way. But I like what Grant has done, what Bob Does Sports have done. Good, and the list goes on foreplay, and the list just can go on and on and on and on. And it's just growing the sport. It's it's younger people are more, I think, geared toward YouTube. And then now they're watching, maybe some of these pros going on Bob Does Sports, going with Grant, going on Good, going on, foreplay. And they're really watching these guys just having conversations. And, oh, these guys are normal. Like watching Tiger Woods on foreplay for I think it was like only 8 minutes he was on foreplay. Yeah. And he did the longest drive contest and he got on his knees. Like, that's like, oh, these guys are really athletes. Like, these guys are like monsters. Like, these guys know how to, and kids are going to look at that and be like, whoa, like if he's that good, like let me watch him on tour now. And it's gears toward that. And the PGA's numbers are going up and up and up and up.
Oh yeah.
Why is Rory making fun of it? Like, why is he so against it? He will not go on any YouTube channel. He won't do this. He makes fun of it. It's like, dude, the game's growing and that's a good thing. Why are you hurting it in a way? And he used to be the poster child, but I think personally, I think the PGA sort of like turning away from him a little bit and moving the other way with it. They're going more towards Scotty because Scotty's been on YouTube. He's been on this. He's actually hilarious. I never knew, Scotty on the PGA, when you're watching him, it shows emotion, nothing like that, unless he's at the Ryder Cup or something like that. But when he went on Grant's, he was making fun of Wesley and like joking about that. And it was just like, wow, like this guy's a human. It makes them human in a way. And like now you're starting to see the PGA sort of take notes from the YouTube world and is wiring these guys up on Wednesday and practice rounds and talking, they're like joking around with each other and you hear them talking to each other and having a good time. And you're seeing like, even on Wednesday on the par 3 tournament for the Masters, like you saw them with their families, you saw how they were interacting with each other. And then like, you sort of got the like background story. And then that's when Full Swing started coming into play. And then you're starting to know the background. And that's how my wife really got into golf, is understanding their backstory. And now she's rooting for all these certain golfers that were on Full Swing. And she's loving it. She's like, oh, I know all their backstory. So this is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, like my mom,
Rory turning his back on it is like insane. And even Sarah said, like, even him on Full Swing, she wasn't really fully on board. She's like, he felt like kind of stuck up-ish. He's like the old country club feel of golf. He's not the new wave of golf.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's bad. Like my mom, obviously, like I said, we're a big golf family. My mom was never, the biggest into golf growing up, but like now that all three of her kids golf, her husband golfs, her father golfs,
she's surrounded.
She's got real big into it now. And even she's like, it's like, you know, you look at like different golfers and they interact with the crowd. Like obviously you're at a tournament, you're trying to win, you're making money. But it's like you got these certain golfers that are out there interacting with the fans, and it's not like they're at the bottom of the leaderboard. Like you look at Bryson when he won the U.S. Open last time, he's taking pictures with people in the stands as he's playing, and stuff like that. And we see Rory, he won't even like give a high five to a kid standing at the rope going to the next tee. It's like, come on, dude, you're locked in that much, really? But the other guy who's beating you by 2 strokes.
Well, I think a lot of these guys were taught like, hey, keep your personal life hidden from the public eye for so many years. And then, I mean, when you look at Bryson when he first won a major to his recent major, like the roar is so much different. And it's just like Bryson was like, oh, well, I was taught to keep my hidden personal life, you know, away from everybody. You know, I try to like hide everything. I didn't want to get my, you know, personality into the mix and blah, blah, blah. And now I think he's more relaxed be in front of the camera and playing because he's like, I'm just going to be me and play me and have a good time. And I think that's a huge part of the game is being relaxed and being yourself. And I think that's what Bryson is. He's just a jolly, good, funny guy and just loves it. Yeah. Do I know what it's like to be the number 1 golfer in the world? No. And Rory was there at one point. So I don't know that situation. But, I mean, we have now a funny story. I mean, we're like, listening to Scotty Scheffler joking around him being in a jail cell. And it's like, you know, it's just like hysterical to think about. The number 1 golfer was in a jail cell warming up for the championship. Like, It's just like so funny because he's like, yeah, I was just warming up doing all my workouts there while my, you know, the PGA like head lawyer is in there screaming like, hey, he's the number 1 golfer. He didn't do anything wrong. It was just a misunderstanding.
Moving on up, kind of in the same vein, who do we think are the top 5 golfers of all time? I'll take this first. This is of all time. I think you got to go with Tiger Woods. Obviously, he kind of he changed the sport.
Reinvigorated.
He reinvigorated the sport of golf, right? He was winning all these tournaments. He was such a young player. He got to the Grand Slam so quick. And just you can't think of golf without Tiger Woods and what he's been going through the past 15 years, him, you know, getting in a car accident and then, you know, DQing himself because he couldn't walk. It just people always – I think there's more viewers of a golf outing when Tiger Woods is on the course. So I think he has to be there, right? Then I think number 2 – this is in no particular order. I got to go Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler is the new Tiger Woods, right? He has the Nike brand. He is, you know, not as young as Tiger Woods, but he's winning all these tournaments. He won over $66 million last year on the PGA Tour. And now everyone wants to watch Scotty Scheffler play because if there's no tournament without Scotty Scheffler, then what's the point of watching? Okay.
Remember the stupid conversation when like, oh, you know, Scotty's fun to watch, but he just has no personality argument like last year.
Yeah.
Like that huge, like stupid conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And I think he has taken note of that. I think everyone enjoys Scotty Scheffler. Personally, number 3, I got to go with Rory. I know Dylan doesn't agree with me, but I think Rory McIlroy is one of the biggest golfers of all time. And he has been, like Dylan said, the poster child between PGA Tour and Live Tour. And he kind of has had all this pressure on him to be the voice of reason, right? And I know he can be an asshole sometimes, but it's enjoyable to watch him play, I think. Number 4, I got to go with the Golden Bear. I think he kind of before Tiger's time, he was the guy. He was the guy on the golf course. He was winning all these tournaments. He's one of the greatest guys of all time. And then I got to go number 5. Give me – this is a hot take, but I probably go with –
I swear to God, if you say Bernhard Langer, I'm going to scream.
No. I'm trying to think of golfers.
Are you serious? You really don't think of like the best probably one of the best known golfers in the world?
Who?
Arnold Palmer?
Oh yeah. Arnold Palmer's probably number 5. Anyone can take this.
That's crazy.
I mean, so my top 5 is a little bit older than yours, Jack, and there's no offense to Scotty, Rory, or any of the guys you said. But we're gonna go to the people who really like shaped the game. I mean, obviously, so Tiger is my one. Everyone knows I love Tiger Woods. He's my guy. He's the one that got me into golf. I love him. Number 2 is Jack Nicklaus, Golden Bear. He does his thing. He was Tiger before Tiger was Tiger. Number 3, Ben Hogan.
Oh,
some of the worst
that was good. I had that.
Some of the worst golf clubs I've ever used in my life, some old Hogans. But try to hit a Hogan 1-iron and tell me how your hands feel afterwards, because I can tell you it doesn't feel good. Number 4 is Gary Player. That man, he's 89 years old and he's still out here hitting more fairways than me. So yeah, Gary Player. And then my last one is, we're taking this real far back. We're going Sam Snead. So those are my top 5 best golfers of all time. You have some of the people who shaped the game to where it is. I mean, Sam Snead was still using hickory clubs. I mean, going back and watching some of the old stuff of him and just reading about some of the stuff from him, these are all just generational players that I named. I mean, that's just me. I was a history major in college. So I love the history of the game. And so those are my top 5.
All right. So I have top 1, Tiger, of course. Number 2, he retired at a young age, 28 years old, never became a professional golfer. Won 13 majors. He really just couldn't take the pressure of being a pro. He really said, like, I don't want to, do it as a professional. I wanted to put Bobby Jones there. Number 2. Scotty. Then Arnold. No, Jack Nicklaus, and then Arnold.
Yeah, so, I mean,
Bobby Jones is probably one of the best golfers, and he was just an amateur. Like, it's insane. Like, he won 13 majors, and he was 28 years old when he retired. So that's crazy.
Yeah. I honestly completely overlooked Bobby Jones, and it's just like, how do I do that?
He has a room literally named after him at Augusta for the amateurs that play the Masters.
Mm-hmm.
That in the Bobby Jones room.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's still great golfers on the course. I mean, I think Sepp Straka, he's going to be one of the greats. I think you'll see him kind of come out on his own, here the next couple of years. I think, Scotty Scheffler's still always going to be so good. So there's a lot of good golfers on tour right now. But I'm excited to see.
Who's the kid from Pittsburgh that he's a pro now? He's like sort of bigger, the long hair.
Shipley?
Shipley, yeah. He was a caddy at Oakmont. Right?
Yeah. I almost said Bill Shipley, but he's not a running back for the Eagles. I forget his first name. Neil Shipley, I think it is. Neil Shipley?
Yeah, Neil Shipley. Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
The first one, I almost said Will Shipley, and I'm like, wait, he didn't just win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm actually excited to see how he plays at the U.S. Open. So that's going to be pretty dope. Is he
honestly, who I really want to see succeed are the 2 young kids, that Maverick McNeely, and I think it's Blades Brown. Like, dude, come on, Blades Brown. You're telling me you have to be an amazing golfer if your name is Blades Brown. Like, come on.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. I like I always like watching the young guns play. Like, sometimes I wake up early because sometimes they're always the early tee time. And you're just watching these guys play. And it's just like, sometimes you see them their first time at Augusta and they hit a ball and they think it's like, they get a little cocky. And I think it's like after like hole 2, they're like, holy hell, this is as hard as they say. It's pretty, they look shell shocked. They're like, holy,
Yeah,
so
you can only imagine, if you were just coming up, making your PGA Tour debut and you were in the Corn Ferry Tour, right? They don't really have many bystanders at all during their tournaments. And then you get your PGA Tour card, right? And you're in, I don't know, Canadian Open, right? Like those.
That'd be a shell shock.
Oh, 100%. Like,
shell shock.
Not even like big tournaments, like the John Deere Classic. That's a great tournament. I love watching that tournament. But like, if you just are on the Corn Ferry and then you come to the John Deere Classic, like, holy shit, like, okay, this is legit. Like, this is insane. Yeah. So it just kind of like, how do you wrap your head around, even if you're like a 22-year-old PGA Tour, you got your card. How do you wrap your head around like, oh my God, there's a guy to my right, to my left, like I don't want to hit them, and it just blows my mind. It just blows my mind.
I mean, I think my favorite clip on YouTube of golf is I think it was like an LPGA, like U.S. Open, like tournament. It wasn't like the U.S. It was the amateur tournament to get into the U.S. Open, and there's all these people lined up, and this girl just smacks a ball and hits this woman, and she had to re-tee again, and she re-teed and hit again.
It's Caitlin Clark.
It's the same person.
Yeah. That was Caitlin Clark. She is one of the most. Oh my God. Yeah, she is one of the most sought after players in the WNBA, and she decided to play golf. And she was even said after that, she's like, "Yeah, I was sweating. I was shitting my brains. Like that has to be scary. Like
even not even YouTube, like classics and stuff like that. Like all those things. Those guys are like, yo, I'm not used to crowds like that. Like I was literally shaking while I was teeing off. Like I never played in a crowd like that. And it's like pretty funny to think about. Like, yeah, these guys probably are like, holy shit, this is insanity.
Just wait till we play Beth Page, by the way, because everyone who's waiting for tee time is up on the balcony watching you tee off and they're heckling you.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. So, in a weird way, I love that.
Oh, Jack's going to shit himself.
I'll be fine.
We had 4 people behind us today. Bro, I can't hit in front of people like that.
Yeah, that's true. This is very true. Speaking about shitting pants, let's talk about what's coming up next weekend. We got Frankie Frank, his first Father's Day. Frank, how you feeling about this? I know it's nothing different, but it's a big day. It's a big deal. I mean, Sarah just had her Mother's Day. Like, how are you feeling about this?
So I'm really pumped about it. Friday, I actually have off from work. So I'm actually golfing with my dad on Friday. And, you know, him and I just got to go out and just play 18 and just like, you know, have father-son moment, just like talking about being probably a dad and just like laughing our butts off nonstop. And then Saturday, I actually have my nephew's birthday party. So we're just like sort of hanging out around there. And then Sunday, we're doing a nice barbecue at my house. And just having the whole family there. I'm like I feel like a lot of my friends are like, yo, that's all my guy friends that are like dads. They're like, yo, we're golfing. And I'm like, guys, do you know how insane the golf courses are going to be each day?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And like, I was just like, no, I'm not golfing on Saturday or Sunday. Like, because I already looked at like tee times like for this weekend, and every single course I saw is already booked. And I'm like, oh my God, can you imagine just sitting at every tee box for like 15 minutes just to tee off? Like, I feel like those are like the worst. Like, there's always like 2 weekends that I sort of avoid from, and like 1 week it is Father's Day, July 4th weekend, and Memorial or Labor Day. I always put those two in like the same boat because it's like sort of the same thing. But I try to stay away from that Monday of Labor Day and Memorial Day. And I'm like, dude, that day's always going to be like one of the roughest days to golf because you're going to nonstop have someone golf. Like everybody wants to golf that day.
Yeah.
But that's my thing. Like I told Sarah not to go crazy, but she told me she bought me something really nice. And I'm like, don't go too crazy, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, no, I want to. I'm like, I'm like, oh, God, okay. Now I'm like putting that in my note, like, okay, next Mother's Day, I need to go as good. You know, it's always just like,
Yeah, I mean, it's just something that, you know, eventually when Dylan and I have kids, it's going to be one of those most memorable moments in life because, okay, I celebrate my dad's Father's Day. I'm sure he was kind of in the same shoes as you when obviously this is your first Father's Day. So it's just like that, I don't know, those little memories make a difference, and it really makes you like, okay, wow, this is what being a father is. And it's something special, bringing some completely wild or random person into the world, your kid. And it's like, holy hell, when
it's like how I look at it, it's love at first sight. Like everybody warns you about like how much you're gonna love a kid right when it's born, no matter what. And like when he was born, like it was like automatic. And I was like, oh, come on, you guys are being crazy. Blah 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 blah. First second, like tears rolled down my eyes. I was holding them, and it was like, yeah, this is just everything that everybody was talking about times like 100. Like you're just like so happy, and you see your dad, and then like everybody being. I think the coolest thing is this is my dad's first Father's Day as a grandpa.
Yeah.
So that's even cooler. I feel like I think that's like even like better than being a dad on Father's Day in a way. I think it's more for the grandfather just to be more appreciative and just like, just looking at just life in general. It really moves fast right now.
Yeah.
I mean, my life is flying by, and I'm trying to hit that break, and it's just never going. But you just got to enjoy the ride and just don't blink. I mean, you don't ever take a relaxing day. I mean, this weekend I was gone for 48 hours, and I would say like right when I got to the hotel, because it was just me that drove, because Frankie and Sarah stayed back. And right when I got to the hotel, I FaceTimed my wife because I was like, I want to see the kid, and it was just like such a weird situation for me because it was like, damn, like I really miss my family. I miss my kid. I miss this. And in the back of your head, and then you're golfing with your friends for a little bit, and then you get done golfing, and then you're FaceTiming them again, going, hey, how's it going? How's everything going? Let me see the baby, And it was just like, I think every like 5 hours I FaceTime my wife, and I know that sounds so corny, but I wanted to see my kid. I wanted to see what he's doing. You never know what's going to change overnight. So, I mean, life's great right now.
Awesome.
I love it.
Congratulations on being a father, and we wish you the luck for your Father's Day. Moving on, this is the final topic of the night. The U.S. Open. What our predictions are? Who do we think will be top 5? Who's going to win it all? So whoever wants to take it, we can just go rapid fire.
All right. So I have actually sort of a cool story for you. So I was up in Johnstown. It's like maybe an hour away from Oakmont. And I was talking to the hotel clerk, and I'm like, hey, like you could tell that they're like preparing for something,
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, we're sold out. And there's people literally like calling us every single day to like rent a hotel here. And then I was talking to my boy who rented an Airbnb in Johnstown, and he turned to me, he goes, yeah, they're like trying to force us out as soon as possible on Sunday because they have people staying at these houses that are like hour and a half away from Oakmont, because the whole town is basically leaving and just put all their houses on Airbnb for the US Open. So like, I didn't realize this, but like when you have like a huge major or something like that, it's just not that town shuts down. All the towns around it shut down. I mean, these guys are all preparing. Then I talked to the golf course that I played out. Now, remind you, it's just a little 9-hole golf course. And they're like, oh my God, we're booked solid this week because people that are going to the US Open are playing like a quick 9, and then they're going to go drive towards Oakmont and get down there and watch the Oakmont. I was like, that is so cool. It's so interesting just what one tournament could do for all these counties around there. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my family's from up in the Johnstown, like my dad's family's from up in the Johnstown area. Also, my mom's family lived up there for a while. And that area doesn't have much going on. So when you were hosting the U.S. Open, it's like the Pope's coming to town up there. So I can only imagine what it's like up there because, like I said, I've been to Johnstown many times. My grandparents actually live in Bedford, Pennsylvania. Okay. So yeah, when you have something like that going on, it's like the Pope's coming to town. Everyone's like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, it's like so funny because it's just like Johnstown downtown is like they're down at like 9 o'clock. You're the only car that's driving around at 9 o'clock at night in Johnstown.
Ian's going to the Open.
Like it's crazy.
No, it's funny. So Dylan and I, when we were at the course today, the starter actually, back in the day, he had a buddy that was a member at Oakmont, and it was when they had the U.S. Open there. I don't know, years ago, and he said, "Yeah, no, it is." He's played Oakmont, and he said it is literally as they're talking about it right now. That's how it's going to be playing, no matter what. The roughs are rough. Like it's gonna be. Me and Dylan were talking about today. I think potentially the winner of the U.S. Open this year may have, over par. Will be over par because just from what they have been predicting and talking about, that rough is like it ain't cheap ass rough. It is a rough that if your ball gets in there, you're screwed. You're gonna have to get under that ball as much as possible. So it's going to be playing very hard. So, like I said, I think Dylan is in the right mindset. I think it's going to either be one or two over, or even, or one under. So I don't think we're going to see like today at the Canadian Open. This winner had what? Minus 18 under. You're not going to see that this year. And I think one of the coolest stories that I was listening to on a podcast is, I forget his last name, but his name is Alistair. I forget his last name. He was on the Foreplay podcast, and back in 2016, he was like your second, like, if somebody DQs or misses their tee time, he'll fill in. So he's never made it to the U.S. Open. This was his first time he made it. He qualified for the U.S. Open. He qualified on Monday or Tuesday last week. He shot 4 under, and his story is cool because obviously he's going to be swagging out the Barstool Golf logo.
Yeah, that's really cool. He's a
Barstool golfer.
Alistair Doherty.
Alistair Doherty. And I was telling Dylan today. So the qualifier was last week, right? 2 weeks, give it three weeks leading up to the qualifier. He got in a really, really bad accident. He got T-boned. He was in a minivan, T-boned, totaled the minivan, was in the hospital, bleeding everywhere. And 3 or 4 weeks later, he's qualifying for the U.S. Open, and he made the qualifying round. So that's just a cool story. I just got chills right now. I don't think he's going to do much, but I think, he could be on that leaderboard. I think this means a lot to him, and you will see that happening with the way he plays.
The person I want to watch for the U.S. Open is Mason Howe. He's a junior in high school. He shot a minus 18, I think, on that Sunday to qualify for the U.S. Open. I'm really excited to see how this kid plays. I mean, he's a junior, so what is he, like 17, 16 years old? Yeah, that's going to be interesting to watch, to see a 16-year-old kid. Do I expect a lot from him? No, but it would be awesome to watch him make the cut.
Yeah.
And see where this goes. I think this kid, if he even gets past the cut, man, you're going to see this kid everywhere. And I think the scholarships are going to be pouring in for golf.
He must already have a good amount of them.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, even making it to the U.S. Open, I think they're already pouring in and coaches are already calling. But if he makes the cut and he handles that pressure, man, this is going to be a really cool watch. That's going to be my number one watch flyer right off the bat of the under the pros and stuff. This is like the unknowns that I'm really excited to watch. And he's going to be probably my number one that I want to watch and check up on and see how he's playing.
See, I have some hot takes for my predictions this year.
Okay.
I told Jack one of them, but I had a list of 4 people that I think could possibly contend or win. So, first one who I have it written down here just so I won't
Scotty
forget.
Scheffler.
No, actually,
What?
Bryson DeChambeau.
I mean, yeah. He
That
was my
man
second.
balls at U.S. Opens.
Mm-hmm.
Second one, Louis Abberg.
He's on my top 5.
My next one, Tyrrell Hatton. And my fourth one is Askey Bhatia.
Yeah.
Those last 2 are my 2 dark horses. But I think those 4 guys are all going to compete this week.
I think, I really like that list. I like Kim there. I like Kim. I like, I know this is going to sound like crazy, but I like, no, wait, he's not in it anymore. Is Kepler in there? Kepler's going, right?
I have the list here. Let me look. I'm looking at the pairings right now. I have
Kepka? What about Kepka?
Kepka?
There.
I'm like, wait, did Max Kepler make the U.S. Open?
Yeah, I was saying Kepler, but I meant Kepka.
Yeah,
Kepka. I have Kepka at top 5. I have Scotty. I have Scotty as actually winning. Yeah, those are like my top right there is Kepka, Bryson, and Scotty.
I also think Keegan Bradley could make a run at it.
Yeah.
Captain America.
That would be poetic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that would be poetic if he wins that. Actually, no, I'm rooting for that. Yeah, that's Keegan all the way.
Yeah, no, I think it's for me, Keegan Bradley. I'm gonna put Alistair Doherty up there just because I think his story's so cool. I'm gonna go with I will be your basic white guy. I'll go with Scotty Scheffler. No, Scotty Scheffler. I will go with Siwoo Kim.
I love Kim.
And then I'll go with I'll go DeChambeau. No, I'll go Keegan Bradley.
I feel like Kim's going to get a hole-in-one. That's what I think is going to change the game there because everybody's going to be like, I think it's going to be really close in the plus field, but a hole-in-one will change the game. And he's the number one, I think, golfer in hole-in-ones in the past 5 years now. And I think a hole-in-one or getting it even really close to the hole is a huge factor for this tournament, especially, I mean, par 3s I think is going to be the ultimate thing here. I don't think it's going to be as much as the par 4s. I think everybody's going to be struggling on it. But the par 3s are going to be the monster that you need to really get on the green, get close to the pin, and just, have that like 3-footers every time. And that's why I think Kim has sort of an edge with that. So that's where I'm putting Kim, like maybe top 3. I still have Scheffler because he's just still amazing no matter what.
Well, that's the problem with this upcoming week, man. The shortest par 3 at Oakmont is 182 yards. I think it's the 8th hole. I think it's like the 8th hole. It's a par 3. It's playing 289 yards right now. It's listed.
That's why Scotty number 1. He almost dunked one, didn't he?
I think so.
From 280.
Yeah, that's why I also picked Bryson. Because Bryson, I mean, a 280 for Bryson's like a 3-iron.
Yeah, that's another huge factor. Is Bryson's just, but he takes a lot of chances. I mean, he'll bomb it, but it'll go in the rough.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I mean, like even today, I mean, we were playing probably on a 3-4 inch rough at the most.
Yeah,
and I think one hole, I hit it into the rough, and I took 5-iron. It was a par 5. I maybe hit it 40 yards out of the rough, just because, and I put a good swing on it too. And Jack's like, "Wow," and I was like, "What the hell was that?"
Yeah.
And the starter was telling us, who was it? Greg Norman. He said he was watching Greg Norman at one of the old U.S. Opens at Oakmont, and he said he literally hit it into the rough there, and all you saw was him hit it out of it. All you saw was grass come up. He took like 2 steps forward and then hit it again.
Oh my God!
And it's like,
Yeah, this is going to be a challenging trek for sure. I mean, like I said, that rough is rough. It's going to be a interesting 3 days. I'm sorry, interesting 4 days to see like who comes out on top. I mean, I think this is one of my favorite. This is number 2 out of my favorite tournaments to watch because it's called the US Open. So that means you don't have to have a PGA Tour card. You literally can be an amateur. I could be on the US Open. You know, you got to qualify for it. So I think it's a really cool layout tournament. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And it's going to be fun golf to watch for sure. They got to stay in the fairway though. That is the trick. You got to stay in that fairway because if you're in that rough, good luck.
Yeah, that's facts.
That's the hugest thing about it. I mean, Oakmont is just a monster in general, and just every video that we see, they just keep talking about the rough. But the greens there are really hard too. So, who's the designer at Oakmont? Did we know that?
I literally was just Googling that.
I wonder who that is.
I literally was looking that. I was literally saying I'm not sure who made Oakmont.
I know it was updated in like
Henry Founds.
Yeah, Henry Founds and his son William Founds.
Okay.
Back in that was
1903.
Yep.
Yeah, I knew they updated in 2003, right? 2003, they said they updated it.
Mm.
It was like 100 years later or something like that. They updated it to make it longer, something like that. But yeah, I mean, still, that course it's just so awesome, and just like I love whenever they play at a really cool course like Pinehurst for the U.S. Open. Now they're playing at Oakmont. It's always just so interesting, and it's gonna be really hard to repeat what happened last year with Bryson. But still, I am so excited for it. Like, I'm here all for it. I do not care.
So it says right here that Oakmont Country Club's most recent major update was completed in 2023.
Oh, I was wrong.
So they worked on bunkers. That's where their main focus was, on bunkers. Yeah. So it's recently updated, but I'm sure it's still going to be a trek to play.
I was telling Jack today, my range for the winner was 2 under to 2 over. It's going to be somewhere in there.
All right, predict the winning score right now. What's the winning score?
Go Dill.
1 over.
Frank?
-1.
I'm going to say -2.
Ooh.
See, I'm the pessimist of the group, huh?
Yeah, we'll see.
No, I just think someone is just gonna have like what I say about Kim is like that whole like a hole in one or something like huge like that, and then you could stay even and you stay minus like 1 or 2 in just one day, and maybe go +1 or stay even for the rest of the round. Might be the huge factor there. And I think that's going to be it. And like, that's why I'm putting Bryson, Kim, and Scheffler up there, because they're so good at getting it on the green and getting it close. And that's where I'm at. And their accuracy is always just on point at all times.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, that's all we have for tonight. We're excited for Frank for Father's Day coming up. The U.S. Open's in the air. So make sure you watch out for that. And
such a great.
I think Dylan and I will be on next weekend. Frank, will you be on or no?
Oh, I'll be on.
Okay, so you'll see us next week. And fellas, out there, I got one thing to say. Play 18. Don't care what she says. Have a good night, boys. Bear with me, boys. Here we go.